live.
We're here.
We did it. We were a few minutes late, and it's all her fault. Just
Always,
so you know.
Always.
Jillian's always the late one.
I am always the late one.
Actually, she was on time, because I kind of expected her to be late just from all the years that we worked together. That you know,
I know.
Did she answer the bell?
I know.
She answered the bell, but
I've grown up a little bit.
You did finally.
Yeah.
But no, I had a little bit of technical difficulties before getting this launched. So welcome to the third episode of Happy Hour with Ronnie Phillips and Friends. And this person here to my left is certainly a person who I would consider a very close friend. And I'm honored that she's come to my home. We're doing this in a little different setting.
Yeah.
Because your internet, I guess, is not so hot.
It's not.
Is it dial-up?
It's a step above dial-up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it is. But we did a test run. We were just going to do it like normal. You know, I was going to be at my house and yours, and it did not work. I was delayed and warbling and probably pixelated. I don't know. It just wasn't going to work. So here I am.
Yep. So we decided that it's a beautiful day. I was wondering if it was going to be too windy, but
no, it's great.
Right now, there's not
a lovely deck.
We got it all worked out.
Nice.
I think the lighting's fine. And so we decided to have a couple cocktails. I've got a Jim Beam and Diet today.
Nice.
And it looks like, I don't know what that is. That looks like some sort of foo-foo drink.
Well, normally I would do vodka, but I figured
that's a little vodka hard seltzer.
It's a little different.
All right.
And it's a black
Is
cherry
it something
berry.
new, or is that is that like a go-to on a hot summer day?
It's new to me.
Okay.
A friend of mine actually left one on my porch a couple weeks ago. Drove by and said, "You have a present on your porch." And so Monica, whatever that is, like it actually reminds me of an 80s cigarette box.
So the number 69 makes me think of like,
right.
Well, not that, but it makes me think of like 70s disco.
Right.
So with the way that's all.
Yeah. And the numbers.
I'm feeling disco, like Studio 54.
Right. That is yes, that's what it reminds me of too. Yeah. I hadn't really pinpointed that, but it's pretty tasty.
So the reason, as I say in every episode, that I'm doing these high production live streams is it's tough times right now. There's a lot of negativity, and much like what Jillian is doing, and we will get to that with her positively positive
yeah,
live streams that she does on her Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
As the whole thing was going, was in the same time frame thinking I need and want to do something positive, and was wanting to do something a little different. Came across the software, which is kind of like a podcast because it archives and it simulcasts this live stream on multiple platforms. And it's a way to keep my brands relevant. As you can see, my show here is sponsored by the companies I'm involved with.
Right.
And I'm not making any money right now. And nor are any of these companies paying me to do this live stream. But if you know of anybody in the commercial space who's looking for a third-party cleaning vendor that might be needing to ask some tough questions post-COVID and how they're going to combat that, we would love to answer those questions. Also, I'm a part of a outdoor TV show on Sportsman Channel called Heartland Waterfowl. And my wife and I just launched through a network marketing company, a company called Zaya Active, which has some really cool high performance active wear. So
I'll be talking to her about that before.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Actually, I'm wearing one of the shirts right here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very, very comfortable.
Very nice.
Okay. The show is on Periscope and Facebook and LinkedIn and Facebook, and we're going to try to do it every Thursday at 4:00. So if you have any questions or comments, we would love for you to be a part of it. Looks like one person's already chimed in, which actually reminds me I wanted to do this little ticker so that people can remember to do that. We would love to hear from you. Of course, I almost called you Rachel. We know each other from our many years of working in radio.
Yes.
And I did 10 years at Q104. You were there probably 25 because you're so much older than I am.
Right. Exactly.
Why radio? I mean, I know you've told me this before, and maybe you've shared it on your live streams, but what was it that allowed you to pick radio? And I can tell you my story.
Well, I mean, I just always loved listening to the radio. And I know that sounds like the people who are singers that are like, I just always sang, and from the time I could talk, I was singing.
Right.
But that's really true. Like one of my most favorite gifts I ever got was the
ice cream truck is coming through the neighborhood.
I know. I might have to go. If they keep ringing and they get
ding,
closer, I might have to go.
We might see him coming up the street over there.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, you love listening to music and the
Love
radio.
listening to music and the radio, and I fell in love with country music. The first artist I remember loving was Randy Travis, and I was probably 9 or 10 years old. It would have been like 88, 89, something like that.
What was your favorite song from him?
Deeper Than the Holler.
Sure.
Yeah. And I had a lavender. The first radio I ever got was a lavender AM/FM radio with a cassette deck. And I mean,
That was
I
a big deal.
wore that thing out,
Mhm.
you know, and then I would do the thing where I made my own mixtapes, right? Recorded from the radio.
Yep.
I would call the radio station and I would request a song, and then I would wait and wait and wait
To hear your voice on the radio?
Well, or just to hear my song. Like
Yeah.
if I didn't know,
Because
if
you
they
weren't dating anybody until Matt came along. So it's not like you were making requests or dedications.
Right. No request or dedicate. Not like
It wasn't the
dedication.
passion phones that you were calling into.
Right. No, that's where I worked. That's where I started working. But anyway, and so, you know, I would hate it when the DJs would talk right up to the song, which
Right.
now I know that that's what
Hitting the
DJs are
post.
trying to do.
Right.
And I just hated that. I wanted to hear the intro of the song on my cassette. And, you know,
That's so funny. I never heard you say that before.
yeah. So
Now it's a
yeah,
cool thing if you're in radio to hit the post.
hit the post to just talk right up to where the singing
Mhm.
starts. Sometimes people miss it by a landslide. We call
Mhm.
that, what is it? Running a truck through?
I
Or-
call it bitch slapping the lyrics.
Okay, or that. There's that. And yeah, so then I mean I started as an intern when I was 17.
Right. And I think I was working part-time at
Yeah.
Q104 when you were interning / working part-time.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
when we
think I
first met.
interned for about 6 months before I started working part-time, and the part-time work at first wasn't on the air. It was
Mhm.
just pushing buttons. So it would be when somebody was out live
Board hopping.
board
Yeah.
hopping, yeah. And
So that would have been like 1998. Because I just remember where I was in my life. So you probably would have started a little before 98.
Yeah, I started 96.
Yeah, but I met
October.
you in
Yeah.
98.
Yep. Crazy, huh?
So I knew ever since I was in the third grade that I wanted to be on the radio. Obviously, I'm
Oh,
not on
really?
the radio now, but I knew in the third, because like you, first of all, I never did. What station would you call and request songs and wait to hear yourself?
61 Country
Oh,
was
okay,
the first
okay.
one that I would have, and then KFKF.
Okay.
Those were the only two, and of course 61 Country was AM,
Ah,
and so crackly,
Sure.
you know. But you could get it, and David Lawrence in the morning,
Yeah.
and Paul Harvey, and
God bless him.
Earl Pitts, and of course now that's an FM station that's
Sure.
been that way for
Yep.
a long time now.
Yep.
So
So third grade, I was in the same situation, and I would call up to. Of course, I lived in a small town in Northeast Kansas, and so
Right.
we were listening to Topeka radio,
mm,
and then it was 97 FM, which was then later 97 Country, which then turned into 94.5 Country.
okay,
Does that sound
yep,
right?
yep,
All right.
sound,
But
yep.
it was, but before it was country, it was just 97 FM, and it was a top 40 station.
Mhm.
And Starship, We Built This City on Rock and Roll came out, and it was like
Wow.
probably one of the most requested songs. And like you, I would call and request that song and probably some Bon Jovi or something, and,
right.
and wait to hear. Of course, I was also trying to make dedications and
Mhm.
hey, I put out a song to you. Be listening here in a little bit, trying to get the
yes.
doing whatever I could,
Right.
because I always had to work just a little bit harder to get the girl.
Working all the angles. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, let's get to a few comments. Robbie has chimed in and says you're a perv.
Me or you?
It says
I
Jill is a perv.
I'm not a perv. How am I?
The
a perv?
first comment is already gone there.
Oh.
He also
Aw.
says some of the best memories of my life are with you guys.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Team Marv checking in. Can you do
I
it?
do the Miranda accent for me again about singing? Oh, like Miranda Lambert. Miranda Lambert.
Which, by the way, well, hold
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah.
our buddy Ken commented on a post yesterday of us promoting this, and he said,
Oh.
"I definitely won't be missing this."
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
hope Ken's watching.
Yeah, Ken
make
Keith will
sure-
probably chime in here
Make
after
sure you
bit.
say hello if you're watching. I didn't even mean for it to be a Miranda, but I guess it kind of was. I've been singing since I could talk and singing in church. I mean, that's what they all say. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, most of them. And
Had
that's
a little bit of-
probably true. It's just kind of like the go-to answer.
Had a little bit of Reba McEntire in it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Reba McEntire. Courtney.
Good.
Aw,
Aw, hi, Courtney.
thank you.
I miss being on the air. I don't miss getting up early. I will say that. Don't
Yeah,
miss that part.
I never,
Been
which
enjoying-
was so weird because I liked getting up early to go hunting, but I never liked getting up early to come to the radio station when I had to be the morning show producer because I didn't like being morning show producer. Let's just be honest with I didn't like
I know
being
you
your
didn't.
guys' like little slave driver.
Right.
You know,
right.
it was
I
cooler when I got
know.
to be my anyway. Okay, so you don't know Jeff. I met Jeff through the hunting industry.
Okay. Hi, Jeff.
And I know where he's going. So Jeff, we're up in Minnesota at a it's Beavertail DOA. They're a outdoor company,
Okay.
and they had a pro staff deal. And so Jeff works for a company that basically features a lot of different products in the industry. Costa sunglasses is actually one of his
I have
clients.
some of those.
Yeah, so do I. They're the best.
They are nice.
So we got in after several drinks and sitting around a campfire. We were in an argument of who the best drummer is of all time. And I still to this day, and God rest his soul, rest in peace, Neil Peart of the band Rush, who just recently passed away.
Okay.
So do you have a favorite drummer, the best drummer of all time? I'm guessing you don't.
I don't.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee.
Is that it?
No. I'd probably say Garth Brooks drummer just because I love Garth Brooks.
Okay. Shiloh, what up, Ronnie? Hey, how you doing, bud? Thanks for chiming in. Shane McClintock.
Shane. How are ya?
I like Shane. We just
He's
caught
a hard
up.
worker.
We caught up the other day. It was good talking to him.
Nice.
Laura says hello.
Hi, Laura.
So keep the comments and questions coming in. We'd love to hear from all of you. Let's get to the next little talking point that I jotted down here. Which Q104 staple event was your favorite? Whether it's Yellowpalooza, Birthday Bash. One thing I didn't put on there was like Hot Country Nights, Snake Saturday, St. Patty's Day Parade, Jingle Bell Bash. I mean, there was a lot of cool staple events that we did, and I'm probably leaving one out, but like it's always a toss up with most of us between Birthday Bash and Yellowpalooza. I feel like.
Yeah, those are great. I do, and I'm not a golfer, and I don't even love golf, but I have to say, and I'm not saying it because it's not on
about
your
the
list,
tournament.
but the golf tournament was always
That was a good one. Yeah,
that was always a favorite, just because there wasn't anything else. Golf tournaments everywhere,
Right.
all over the city.
Yeah,
I don't, and maybe there were other ones put on by radio stations and other ones where you'd get singers.
I never
to
heard
come.
of any though.
I don't remember hearing about them, so I'm not going to claim that we were the only ones to ever do that. But
yeah,
that was a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool event.
It was cool from the standpoint that you had so many, what I would say, top caliber artists that wanted to be a part of it, and it was. So I'm going to screw this up now. Obviously, it was a charity tournament that we were doing for Children's Mercy, wasn't
Children's Mercy. The last few years it was done, and then Sunflower House was a recipient for a while. Maybe Camp Quality. I should remember all that. But yeah, it was just.
There's the ice cream truck.
I know. Catch you next time.
Drumstick, maybe.
Drumstick or bomb pop?
Drumstick.
Yeah, drumstick. Bomb pops are gross. The only good part of bomb pop is the red part.
Yeah, I don't really.
Everything
care for
else,
those.
no.
Yeah, the Q104 golf tournament was always fun. I always enjoyed. I'd never played good in those tournaments because I was. It was more of a competition of how much we could drink as opposed to how much how low we could keep our score.
Right.
And I always loved the fact that people like Clay Walker and Trick Pony back when they were still together, which by the way, Ira Dean, Chris Cagle, Ira Dean I still stay in contact with him. Yeah. And he's going to join me for happy hour with Ronnie Phillips. And I don't know if it's going to be next week or when, but I want to thank Ira for committing to doing that. But Trick Pony,
I have a good
Chris
Ira
Cagle,
story that I probably wouldn't appreciate.
Well, we'll get to some funny moments. Yeah, we'll talk about it because then I can bring it up when
boy.
I'm trying to think what other artists did we have? I mean, we had a lot of artists.
A lot of repeat artists.
Sure.
But we had Jake Owen was there.
Oh, sure. He was a great golfer.
He was great. Yeah. Steve Azar was there a lot, which if you remember, I Don't Have to Be Me Till Monday. He only had a couple big hits, but that was one of them. Did I say Chris Cagle?
Yes.
And then we had friends that would come, and sometimes they would play, and sometimes they would just come to like the concert after. Yeah. Like Tom Watson. No big deal.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
We also had our friends in the record label industry that maybe didn't have an artist there to perform, but just wanted to be a part of the event.
Just wanted to come.
EJ and Charlie and Miranda.
Yep.
And whom I'm leaving somebody else.
Oh gosh, a bunch of them. Suzanne.
Oh, Suzanne, of course.
One of the last golf tournaments that I remember, Joe Nichols was there. I know he was there a couple different years, but so good times. And then other than that, I would say Yellowpalooza. Because I mean,
so it was. I definitely love the Q104 golf tournament, but I would have to say that it was a toss up between Yellowpalooza and Birthday Bash, and I liked them. For their own. Birthday Bash was cool because it was more of an intimate setting,
right?
And I like that. And and I was about to say something stupid because I was going to say it wasn't 100 degrees, but it actually was 100 degrees often
A
at
lot of
Birthday
times
Bash.
in the Beaumont Club.
Yellowpalooza sometimes, as much fun as it was could be so miserable because of how hot it was.
Yeah, it was draining for sure.
Yeah. But man, there was some cool. Yeah. So for me, it was either Yalla or Birthday Bash, probably a tie.
Yeah.
So again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, oh my gosh, we got to get some questions. There's a lot of comments coming in here.
Okay.
16 different ones. Let's see where I left off.
A lot of people saying hi. Hi, Christine.
Yeah, Christine's checking in, saying hello.
That's nice. And Sherry, I miss you.
Danny would completely agree with you on Neil. Oh, for the best drummer. Yep. Jeffrey checking in and saying hello, as is Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Sherry, she's such a sweetheart.
I know.
Also love me some Stangela. Gabe and I were on the phone earlier today, Stangela, and we were actually talking about you. So hope you're doing well. My sister-in-law checking in. Oh, geez.
Hi, Jenny.
All right. That's okay. Okay. This brings up a good question.
Mm-hmm.
The one event that I absolutely, and I can say this, I don't work for the radio station anymore. I absolutely despised and hated to attend was Santa Caligan Days.
It's a very love-hate thing.
There was no love.
No love?
No love. I mean, there was love because, there was one year you and I got to hang out an entire day. I mean, there were several years you and I hung out for the entire day. So you could get through the day if you were surrounded by people that you liked.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to like make sure I don't cross the line here.
Okay. Do you remember from Santa Caligan Days, there would have been a lot of years. The concerts were great. Like I remember seeing the Dixie Chicks at Santa Caligan Days. Like
I don't remember the Dixie Chicks.
That was pretty early on. That was probably like, I don't know when that was.
Seemed like Big and Rich played at Santa Caligan Days one year.
Joe Diffie played there a couple different times. Marty Stewart.
Yep.
I think Winona was there.
There was a lot of top quality artists that came.
But do you remember the Clown Noses?
Who doesn't? That's the thing. If you go to the Q104 tent, you can get a clown nose. But the problem with the clown noses is it didn't matter how many years in a row that we gave them away. Like you were going to answer this particular question at least 50 times in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this?
Right.
It's a clown nose. I wanted to just wear a sign that the red things are clown noses.
Or just wear one, but they kind of made your nose tickle. And so the deal was that Barnum and Bailey, which rest in peace.
Yeah.
They would
we're saying that a lot in this show. Joe Diffie.
I know. Good thing we're still
Neil
alive.
Peart.
So far. But they would give us cases of these red rubber clown noses that you kind of had to pinch just right to get them on, and they were rolled up. So they weren't really round. They didn't look like a clown nose in the package, but we wanted to keep them in the packaging because it was cleaner, you know? And yeah, I mean, you would answer it 1,000 times an hour is what it felt like. What's that? A clown nose? Huh? A clown nose?
What? What?
They go, huh?
What'd you say? Yeah.
And I finally got to where I would just have my own, and I would go. And if anybody said what one time, I would just put it on.
Yeah.
Clown nose, Yeah. But the everything deep fried was fantastic.
That was cool.
I did love that.
I did like that. I like the jambalaya. That was one of my favorites. The lemonade.
Those curly fry things.
Like those. I didn't care for the turkey legs. That was always kind of gross for me.
Yeah.
People walking around.
I don't really love meat on a bone.
But it was always so hot, and I'm already irritable because I always get Memorial Day.
Labor Day.
I always get those mixed up. Labor Day weekend, I don't want to be here. I want to be at the lake.
I know.
I want to be doing, why am I here? So I kind of going in with a pissy attitude.
This is why you're here.
Yeah.
What's that? A clown nose? Huh?
Yeah.
A clown nose. That's why you're there.
Exactly. And maybe introduce an artist on stage.
Right. Which is pretty cool too.
And then there was, like it's 100 degrees, and then some people,
or a storm would blow through.
Oh, that
a monsoon would come through, and then you'd be like holding onto the tent for dear life.
There was some.
Don't miss that.
And you don't have to say this, but I can say it. There were some personal hygiene problems that would be walking around there, and these are the people that would want to just show you love and affection, which I appreciate. But there's a personal space,
Yeah.
And I don't need your sweat and grime and spit spraying all over me, which is relevant right now in a time where there's germs are
Just think about all the things we could have caught at Santa Calagon Days, or probably did. I have one.
Because we were at Santa Calagon Days, we probably built the immune system that will allow us to reject the coronavirus.
That's what I think. I have a picture with a guy from Santa Calagon Days who bought me a hot dog from the Boy Scouts.
Oh, that's cool.
And he brought it over and he wanted to know if I wanted anything on it. And a little secret, I didn't plan on eating it. I wasn't going to eat it.
Yeah.
But I said, I was just trying to have a conversation. I said, well, what are the choices? And of course he said ketchup, relish, musketeer. And I said,
musketeer.
I go, what? And he said, musketeer. I said, that's what I want. I want musketeer. So he called mustard musketeer, and he never corrected himself. I didn't correct him. And so I had to get a picture with my musketeer buddy.
So after that, how many times since have you got a hot dog or a hamburger and said, pass me the musketeer?
I haven't said
Never?
it, but I've told the story and I think of it. I thought you were going to ask me how many times I've been to Santa Calagon Days since I had to work there, but zero. Big zero.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yep.
Stangela, I think we already visited. Jill, waiting for you to... You're on the radio. Thank you, Jill. Appreciate that.
Me too. I'm waiting.
We'll get to that in a moment. Jason, Hot Country Nights was always fun. Yes, it was. Problem with Hot Country Nights was that Fridays sucked. Oh my God.
And the cool thing, when you were in the morning.
Yes. When I got moved. So I had, as different than the rest of the personalities at Q104, I had an agreement with PBR Big Sky to where I had to be there every Thursday. I'm trying to remember if it was Thursday and Friday or Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I think it was just Thursday and Friday, but I would end up there on Saturdays anyway. But it was Thursday and Friday. They paid me to promote them on the air during my show, which was at that time during the midday from 10 to 3. And then I would go there that night and they would say, look, here's your budget, and just make friends with people, buy them drinks, show them a good time, and
be a good host.
I mean, I'm really good at that.
Right.
So, and then of course I had a little bit of a tab and so basically got paid to go party for free, or got paid to party really. And so then it's Hot Country Thursday nights. And then Mike says, okay, we're streamlining, cutting, trimming, and you're going to now need to be the morning show producer. In addition to doing, the midday show, in addition to doing the promotions.
Right.
And, anyway.
It was a lot.
So I'm like, how am I going to do Thursday nights at PBR and be at the radio station at 5:30 at the very latest in the morning? He's like, I'll be flexible. Just get here at 7. I'm like, okay, big whipty freaking dude, 7 o'clock. That's really going to help him. So I would then have to do these stupid Road Rage Ronnie free ticket Fridays, which means then I would have to, and go to PBR on Thursday night, have my fun, then be a liability to the entire company by going to the caves to pick up the Q104 van and then drive it all the way out to Grain Valley so that I could then just slip in the van and go do a free ticket Friday with Road Rage Ronnie. Most likely somewhere in the Grain Valley, Blue Springs there, because it was closer to me and I didn't have to drive as far. Anyway, I gave away a lot of tickets then.
Yes.
She wanted to see Mike Kennedy in shorts. I don't know where he's going with that one. She wanted to see Mike
Something
Kennedy.
At maybe golf? I don't know.
Oh, probably. How do you two radio veterans think the country music industry will change on the backside of this long break? These pop interactions with fans become the norm. I'll let you go first.
I don't really know. I'm assuming you mean like when will we get back to concerts? Because all the artists right now are doing.
I mean, are they still releasing music?
Yeah, Kenny has a new album coming out tomorrow. Kenny Chesney.
Okay.
Thomas Rhett actually released.
Well,
a lot of people are releasing
the Kenny
new
show
songs.
is probably not going to happen.
I can't imagine it happening. I really can't.
I will tell you that I have inside information that it's not happening.
I believe that.
Just what I heard.
July 11th, and
which means that I'm not going to be going to Kaufman to watch Motley Crue and Def Leppard and Pat Benatar and Poison, which is at the end of June.
Right.
So,
and there were rumors, a few months back that Garth was supposed to be
Oh,
doing
really? I didn't know
a
that.
stadium show in Kansas City, and
Oh, that's probably.
I mean, probably just all of it postponed. I mean, Kenny will be back. Well,
Right.
there'll be shows again. I don't know how long though. I really don't know. Like, could any of us 2 months ago have thought, like, if 2 months ago someone had said, this is where we're going to be and this is how things, no one would have believed you. Like, it sounds.
I didn't even believe in the coronavirus.
Crazy. It sounds crazy. It feels crazy when you think about it, like where things are and the uncertainty of everything. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be normal.
I don't have an answer either. I'm still trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's just a little dot
It's
at
a
this
glimmer,
point.
yeah.
Karen, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Jason, whatever event my buddy T Marv was playing.
Oh, that was his favorite thing.
Oh.
So we're back on people telling their favorite things. Golf tournament.
Screwed up something here. Oh, here we go. Jason Travis is Mr. Kansas City for our local country. There's a handful of guys that I really have a lot of respect for when it comes to local country music. Travis is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Noe Palma has always been a really close friend of mine, so I would definitely give him some love. Gosh dang it, now I'm drawing a blank, but Hazard County, I always really like those guys. Patrick Woolham, who was kind of played with Noe, who's an incredible artist. They've got a it's like a jam band, Lost Wax. You got to look up Lost Wax. Unbelievable. John Goolsby, another
John Michaels.
Marianne
Michaels.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Michelle.
Great times at Yalla. Yes, Christine. Oh, this is my sister. Hey, Throwback Thursday.
That is? Aw.
She's saying she misses you.
Hi, Tammy.
I know. I missed her too. This is why I invited her over. And she's clear out in the boonies, so I know that she doesn't have the virus. It's safe to bring her to my house. Because you can see there's no 6 feet of distance right here.
I know.
Tammy Drake. I do love me some Tammy.
Tammy.
So good to see you both. Jeff chiming in. Oh, yeah. Every man a wildcat. Low Cash. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Cash are always good.
Jason Michael Carroll. Oh, my God. I forgot about him.
He's a sweet guy.
He played Santa Clara. He put on a heck of a show there. Whiskey Tango could get pretty miserable if it was at max capacity. There was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was always, I'm pretty sure it was beyond max capacity.
At times, yes.
Sean definitely wanted to make sure that he was capitalizing on the opportunity.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't he?
It's
good business, right?
Sleep on the black couch. Did that a couple times. By necessity. Golf tournament. Okay. I should be screening these before, but I'm just.
That's okay.
Brad Paisley does.
Oh, yeah. Brad Paisley. Okay. So they were asking about artists doing things and getting back to normal.
Oh.
So Brad Paisley is doing, and some other artists are doing this too, where they put out a text line.
Okay.
It's obviously not their regular personal phone, I'm sure, but they're just saying you can text him about various things. What Brad recently did, and he actually did, I wish I could remember it. I bet you would know who it was. Oh, if I could think of who it was. Anyway, he would say, send me your Zoom link.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right. And he goes, I just might pop into your Zoom conference call just randomly.
So Brad would do that?
Yeah. He
So who's the other guy you're talking about?
I'm trying to think of
he was doing this in collaboration with him?
No, just separately. Like Reba McEntire had a text line set up.
Gotcha.
I think maybe Carrie Underwood. There have been a few of them who, text me and it's been about different things. But Brad's was send me a Zoom notification.
Gotcha.
And I might pop in on your Zoom conference call. And so anyway,
cool.
he's been doing that. And he did it with one of our, I'm sure if I could think of who it was, I'm almost positive it's one of our longtime radio friends that you would know who it was.
Okay.
Not in radio, but just like a friend out there. Somebody that listened for years and years. So that's pretty cool.
I saw where Peyton Manning did that with a class. It was a Zoom it was a virtual class at the University of Tennessee where he went to school, and he just popped in. It was like, hey guys, how you doing? And they're like, oh my God, it's Peyton Manning in my class.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
course you missed the concerts. You come to everyone front row, Christine. You were a diehard, loyal live music fan and fan of Q104. Definitely.
Love that.
Tasha saying hello. Tracy. That's a name from the past. Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's
probably is going to remain that way. I don't know. We'll see. Rob, who remembers Cactus Moon? So that was before me.
And that was,
but I will tell you this. I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So before I came to Kansas City, I was in Tucson, and the guy who owned the Cactus Moon in Kansas City moved to Tucson and had a Cactus Moon, and I rendezvoused the Cactus Moon every weekend.
Interesting. I was not old enough to go to the Cactus Moon while it was open, so I worked at the station when events were going on at Cactus Moon. I just couldn't go.
All right. Before we get to more talking points, Lisa says Brad does pub crawls. Okay. He does pub crawls? Brad Paisley? Okay. And then Robert is chiming in saying hello. All right. So let's get back to where we were with some talking points that might inspire some more questions. We're already 37 minutes into this live stream. We're having so much fun.
Haven't even finished a drink. I'm talking so
okay. I said I hit that. What is the greatest lesson we have learned from Mike Kennedy? I know mine like that, but I want you to go first.
Well,
by the way, Cowboy, I don't know how much you pay attention to my social media. He doesn't engage in mine very often, but if you are watching, I love you and I hope you're healthy and well.
Same here. I'm going to say probably how to do things with integrity and how to treat people.
Did you have an issue with that? To where you felt like it was a lesson? Or was it just
it was just a lesson taught through example.
I know you didn't have an issue with that. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, that's the way he led.
Should I say that? Let me think about that.
Sure you can.
It's just, I'm gonna say this. Mike was my only real job, big girl job boss for a long time. And I heard how great he was. And people would tell me, wow, he's great. And I thought, they're just saying that because he wouldn't even be in earshot, but just because I worked for him. I didn't realize until he wasn't my boss anymore how great he was and how much integrity he worked and how well he treated people. And it was the same to their face as behind the scenes. And so I didn't realize that until so much.
It's crazy how you find perspective. It's the old saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
That is true.
So
yeah,
I'm going to cuss right now, but it's because he did.
Okay.
This was the lesson. As you know, I have a good heart, but I have this problem with being very black and white, very transparent. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And if I'm happy, I'm jumping up and down and dancing and giving high fives. And if I'm upset, I'm roar.
Right.
And there was a few times where I would roar at the radio station, especially when I was given some responsibilities that gave me maybe just a teeny little bit of authority. And Mike sent me an email because I was on the air. And so he wouldn't, that's a no-no to come into the studio and have a conversation. Right. But he knew, even though he didn't like us checking our email at the time, he sent me an email that says, hey, after your shift, let's go have a drink. And we went to the rooftop at, Kelly's. This was when Mike used to go to Kelly's. Before.
That's another story.
But before he got into it anyway. So we're at the roof. It was brand new rooftop, basically their little smoking area up there. And we're the only ones up there. And I remember it's all small talk at first. Yeah, it's going. And I'm like,
but something's coming.
Yes, okay, Mike's asking me to have a drink after our shift. Something's going on, and the anxieties. I'm like, dude, of course, again, black and white, being very transparent, quit beating around the bush. Let's get to it. What's up? What do you need? What do you want to talk to me about? He was like, look, man, you need to learn how to shit sugar. Remember that?
I do remember hearing about that after the meeting. Yeah.
It has resonated with me there it resonated, and it has continually resonated with me, and I'm still working on it. It's still sometimes a challenge, but
That's a life lesson.
it is. It truly
matter what
is
you're
a life.
doing.
No matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's business or family or what it is. If you're, I still struggle with it though. There's times where I have to go back and I go, okay, shit, sugar, go in the bathroom.
Now, did he
literally
explain? No, I know, but I mean,
did
did you go, because you're so black and white, did you like,
yeah, no, I didn't know what that meant. He had to explain it.
Yeah.
He had to explain that if you want to get the most out of people, coming at them right between the eyes and forcefully, telling them to do what you want to do. And if you don't get it, then you're going to crawl down their neck, that isn't, or up their rear, whichever analogy you want to use, that isn't sometimes going to be the most productive. In many cases, it's actually going to be counterproductive.
Exactly.
So why don't you try shitting sugar? And you know what? Had he put it
right,
he was 100% right. But here's the thing: is that had he explained it in any other way, it probably would have went in one ear and right out the other. But because it kind of rolled off the palate and it had a curse word in it applied to sugar, it stuck.
It worked. It stuck.
So that was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned from Mike. Thank you. And I still apply that to my business ventures today, or at least try to. What's the difference in radio today versus when we started? Because that's part of the reason why I'm not in it any longer.
Oh.
But that's just me. That's just me.
I'm just trying to think of,
I'm just saying, do you feel like when you got into, I guess I got in a little bit earlier than you did, but I was still relatively new to the industry. So let's go back, I guess it'd be 20 years.
Right.
What's the difference in radio 20 years ago from what it is today?
Well, there are so many other ways.
And there's not a wrong answer to this.
No, I know. It's a couple things. Most of it would be technology. I guess a blanket one word would be technology. So, and that factors into two things that come to mind. One would be staffing.
100%.
So you can run a radio station with a lot fewer people than you used to be able to. Because when I started, there was somebody live on all the time. And if they weren't on live, for example, on Saturday nights, I would run the board for Bo Reynolds. And was it Boot Scootin' Saturday Night? I think that's what it was called. Anyway, I don't know where he was. I know he used to be in Oklahoma. I feel like maybe he was in Florida at some point. I'm probably wrong on that, but it was a show that would come. A syndicated show. Yeah, a syndicated show via satellite, and you had to dial up the satellite. Make sure your satellite.
At one point, it was on CD.
Yeah,
it was on CD.
Yeah, but there still had to be someone in the studio
to push the buttons.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so when you were starting out, you were probably working midnight to 5.
Yep.
You know, I mean that's the first
Sunday mornings.
The first time that I was on the air would have been like between 2 and 4 a.m.
Wow.
On a Saturday night into Sunday. Like I worked the midnight to 5 shift, but I was only on for a couple hours just to, just
break the ice.
Yeah. And then the other thing with technology, obviously, is that people have so many other ways to get music and quickly. Whereas 20 years ago, you could go buy CDs or cassettes or records or 8-tracks or whatever.
You were either listening to the CDs or you're listening to the radio.
Right. And that was it. You didn't have
unless you had a cassette deck, which then you were out of date.
Me. I still have a cassette deck.
Yeah, you nailed a lot of things there. Technology eliminated a lot of jobs. And when jobs, and still does, and when jobs were eliminated, it didn't mean that the people who retain their jobs increased their pay. They just took on more responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. The thing that probably bugged me the most, and again, I'm just being bluntly honest, and it's not necessarily, I don't know if it's just a radio thing or if it was just where we were at, and it wasn't a product of Mike. It wasn't a product of our staff as much as it was probably a product of the company we were owned by at the time. I have no problem saying that. Was just that there was less value in personalities. Like when I got into radio, we knew radio personalities weren't going to make a ton of money.
Right.
They had the potential to making a lot of money if you got to say Johnny Dare status. and when I say a lot of money, like I don't know what Johnny Dare makes, but I'm going to assume it's somewhere near six
Or if
figures
you-
or more.
Or if you ended up being syndicated, like some people,
Yeah.
even in Kansas City, listen to Bobby Bones. He's syndicated. He's in
Yep.
Nashville, but he's syndicated. Howard Stern, those kind of,
Sure.
those are obviously
The exception.
very much
Exactly.
exceptions.
Yeah. So like I knew there was an opportunity to being in a decent sized market like Kansas City to make a decent living. Like,
Sure.
you know, I could pay my bills and have some relatively nice things and do some relatively cool stuff. And so at that point in time, when I got involved in radio, which was the very beginning in high school, mid 90s, by the time I got to Q104, it was 2001-ish. So there was still this somewhat value towards personalities, their talent, and, you know, sending them to remotes or doing endorsements. And there was other ways, kind of like side hustles for radio personalities to make money aside from just their salary, to do their, you know, 5-day-a-week shift.
Yeah.
And then it turned into how many commercials can we cram in an hour is what it felt like. And there was less about the content in between the songs. And it was just like, how many songs can we fit in an hour? How many commercials can we fit in the hour? And now we are just basically a computer is what it felt like. Now, keep in mind too, that, and just in speaking in fairness, I was also doing middays, which is not a very personality driven day part. But I feel like a lot of that is part of what's changed. And maybe had to do again with the owners that we had.
Yeah.
Maybe it had to do with the time of the, you know, that time in radio, because I've been out of it for 7-8 years now. Maybe it's changed a little bit. I don't know. But there was a lot more emphasis when I first got on radio with personality.
On the personality. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think some of it did have to do with the owners at the time on the 100 commercials an hour and all that.
God, I want to say so much more, but I'm not going to. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done with Zeke? And then we're going to get to some comments.
With Zeke.
Like Zeke does a lot of dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever been in a situation where you were maybe had a couple cocktails and you know, didn't realize it, but you were actually participating in something really dumb that he did? And you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
I'll probably think of something like randomly
I'm just trying to find a way to include Zeke in this show.
Right. I'm sure he would make up something really good if you asked him the question about me. Well, something that he and I often joke about, but it really wasn't him that was being bad. It would have been Mike Kennedy. So, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. So I'm going to share it, and maybe I'll think of something.
Go with it.
So one time when we were in Vegas for the ACM Awards, which obviously we didn't have this April, and now they're postponed till September and not going to be in Vegas. They're going to be in Nashville now, which could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a party after the award show. And the cool thing about award shows in Vegas, even as a fan, like if you're not in radio and you wanted to go, because it was in an arena, you could buy a ticket just like a concert. And because everything in Vegas is so crammed together, all the casinos are just, it's a strip. I mean, they're just all lined up. And so you could go, and then after the award show was over, you might see, I mean, we saw Kix Brooks playing blackjack one night, just out there with Tim McGraw was at a high roller table, so we couldn't get very close to him. But
no security.
They're just like anybody else.
Yeah.
And because everybody's there. And it's not like Nashville where people get dragged to, this side of town and this place and this restaurant. Everything is right there. Anyway, so it's an after party. It's at a bar in one of the, probably at MGM Grand or Mandalay. I don't remember which. And George Strait was there. And I didn't even know George Strait was at this party, but he was there. And, well, I mean, we've all been drinking, you know, nobody had to drive anywhere. That's fine. Nobody had to drive anywhere. You're in Vegas. Like you're steps away from your room.
Exactly.
And then we find out George Strait is there, and we're all tipsy enough. Mike happened to be probably a little tipsier than us and wanted to find George Strait. And we're like, you can't do that. Huh? And somebody that kind of worked with George Strait's record label was like, you've got to get him out of here. Like to Zeke and I, you've got to get him out of here. So we're like, hey buddy, you know what? Trying to tell him anything, he just left or whatever. And he wanted to go gambling. Like we were getting him back to his room. We got him to his room.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going gambling.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And we're like, and I told Zeke, I'm like, Zeke, you gotta like get him on his bed and get him out of his boots and maybe even his jeans so that he'll go to sleep and he won't get up and try to leave again. So that was,
you didn't
Zeke.
encourage him trying to pee first.
Well, he did.
Okay.
No, he did. Yeah, he did.
That can open up
but I had to leave the room. So I was waiting in the hall like a little kid waiting to like scare. I was waiting for Zeke to come out because I'm like, you got to get him and like stand there and kind of wait till he starts snoring a little bit or whatever, you know? So this was, that was kind of a mission Zeke and I were on to get him to stay in his room, not go gambling or not go find George Strait.
Yeah. Wow. You know, as you were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, and I brought up Zeke because, you know, he's the funny guy usually on the morning show.
Yeah.
And so you just immediately want to associate the dumb things with Zeke. But God, now I think about it, there was some dumb things that we did with Mike. There was several dumb things we did with Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being on a bus with Montgomery Gentry.
I was not there, but I heard about that night.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery Gentry, that was at Ameristar.
Mm-hmm.
That turned out interesting.
Do you remember
going back to the peeing episode? But anyway, go ahead.
Do you remember the, so Whitey that we worked with? So you know Whitey. Whitey now has a bar out in DeSoto, JT's. Whitey had a friend. Whitey always had a friend that had something, and Whitey had a friend that had like a bus. Remember this? The RV bus. Oh
yeah, we went to Manhattan for Toby Keith.
For the Toby Keith
and then the
concert.
thing broke down just as we got back to the station.
And there was an ice storm. Like we slid half the way back. I guess there was ice, and I had fallen asleep in the back. And it was an adventure. The whole thing was an adventure.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a tour bus, but it was like a 1960s, 70s tour bus, like
maybe like this.
1969.
1969 maybe.
But that was a good of course we weren't driving. We're just I mean, just
and the friend wasn't drinking, you know, it was all good, all safe, but the ice
I remember
storm
TJ passed out. TJ,
I was too.
TJ was completely passed out, and Jackson was trying to wake her up, and we got back just in time for Jackson to get back to the Beaumont Club to get just a few minutes of the Beaumont Club, and he's trying to take care of his friend TJ. He's like, TJ, come on, wake up. I want to go to the Beaumont Club.
Can't go without that Beaumont. I do miss the Beaumont Club.
I do too. All right, let's get serious here for just a moment, because one of the things I love and respect about you is your faith. And what is it that you do to implement faith into your daily routine?
Well, I mean, I really do try to put God first in everything. So if I'm making a decision or have a decision to make, or something's weighing heavy on my mind, whether it's a decision or just anything, like I've gotten to where I do try to spend time first thing in the morning, reading a little bit of scripture. Some days it's more than others. Some days it may just be a verse, and I go find a pretty little picture, something that'll give me a visual of it as well, to try to remind me. And that might be something I'm struggling with, sometimes I'll just go in my Bible in the back to like the topics, if I'm struggling with wanting to forgive someone that I am not feeling forgiveness in my heart about. Sure. It's been a recent thing. And so I may go look up, some scripture on that. And then of course praying, but I really try to get to where when I'm thinking about something, whether it's that I'm worried, and now is a perfect time. Now is a perfect time when there's so much uncertainty, and there's so many things to worry about. Not just, am I going to get sick? Are my kids going to get sick? Are my parents going to get sick? If I don't wear a mask, or I don't wear gloves, or I do this, or I do that, is somebody going to call me out for it? You know what I mean? I even thought about that with doing this today. And I thought, you know what? Well, yeah, because we're not 6 feet apart. We're not wearing masks. I don't have gloves on. Yeah. Does that kind of, there's that.
I don't care.
I
appreciate it. I appreciate that you do, though.
I know that some people do, and people feel so passionately, and we're in an election year, and there's just so much for people to be at odds about, and to argue about, and to not be kind about. And then in my own personal life, like I said, all the things that come along with this pandemic, and I should be back to work and I'm not, and all these things that like I could just stress about, and I do sometimes. It becomes overwhelming sometimes to think about all the things, but I try to, instead of letting those thoughts just mill around in my head, I try to turn them into prayer. So if it's that I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm supposed to be back to work. Am I ever going to get back to work? Am I never going to go back to work? I don't know. I'm like, I'm fine with it if that's the case. Like, I know for me personally, I know there's a greater plan.
Sure.
I know you believe that as well. Bigger than anything we can see. So whether we're talking about who's going to be president for the next 4 years, or when all this craziness that's going on in the world is going to be normal, will it ever be, all those things, there's a plan bigger than what we can see.
Right.
And it's all part of it. Okay. So that is the only way that I can ever feel peaceful and content about it, and not completely just go crazy in my mind. So those big world things, but also my personal life. If I'm supposed to be back on the radio, I'll be back on the radio.
Yep.
And if I'm not, I won't. And if I'm just supposed to be home with my kids, like, I love that too. You know, so
I can so relate to that. I call it white knuckling life. Like, we as believers are not intended to white knuckle anything in our life, because if we have our faith where it's supposed to be, then we're following his plan. Right.
And trusting that doesn't mean it won't be hard. Doesn't mean there won't be hard days. It doesn't mean there aren't times where there are white knuckles and
it's only human,
unkind words and reactions.
It's where we're challenged. I feel like that's where we're really challenged to, say, hey, are we truly believers, or are we just, saying that we are?
Right.
And, if in my case, I haven't made my life and my profession was going so well over the last couple of years, better than I ever envisioned for myself. And I haven't collected a penny in the last 45 days. And so when you talk about that, uncertainty and that fear and that anxiety, like, oh my gosh, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? And then it's like, okay, I can't control a pandemic,
right?
Nor could I forecast it.
Right.
So, just do the best you can for today.
Right.
Be a good dad, be a good husband, do the things that you know that you can do good.
Right.
And put your faith in where you can put it, or where you should put it. And
as far as money goes, I mean, I've, I'm not the same boat, but similar. I mean, it's been 7 months.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Here I'm talking about 45 days.
Now I knew that was.
No, granted, my wife is still making money. She's
and my husband too.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying there. Right. I don't want to make it completely sound like we're.
And anyway. Part of that was, that was all by choice. Like I wasn't fired. That wasn't all of a sudden. I left by choice. I knew that I had to sit out 6 months and not work. So that was all known, and that was all. We're fine. We'll
just
be fine.
Then got slapped with the pandemic. You're like, really? Like the timing of that? Could you come like either late or like, could have been a situation where like you were in for a month and then the pandemic, because at least you're employed.
However, I will say,
would they have furloughed you think? Like if you would have,
there's no way to know that. There's no way to know what would have happened if this the pandemic would have never happened, if it had happened 3 months earlier, if it had happened 3 months later. There's no way to know that. I have thought of all those things.
No, I bet.
But I will say, and you can probably remember back to some specific days on the radio that were hard to be on the radio because of what was going on in the world. I actually am trying to, even though I want to be back on the radio and I want to be with you guys every morning.
Right.
I don't envy being on the air right now. Because it makes me think of, just for example, the few days, and this is going to go back quite a few years, the few days after 9/11, the very first anniversary of 9/11, the second anniversary of 9/11, and then all those years that the country was in wartime, there would be times where, depending on what had just happened, or the night, let's just use 9/11 as an example, you couldn't make everybody happy. Because if you just went back to normal and you just went back to Zeke being an idiot, you know what I mean by that? Just being funny, telling jokes, right? Poop jokes, and playing music and doing the, Monday morning match game and whatever.
Mike Evans.
Then you'd have some people that would be mad that, well, that's disrespect. You should be paying more attention to this or more attention. You should be talking about this.
Being an umpire of a baseball game, you call a strike, you got half of the crowd yelling at you,
right. And then if you talk about it too much on it, let's say a 9/11 anniversary, you talk about it too much, people are like, just move on.
Yeah,
I know that's the day it is. I don't want to be reminded. So I don't, that's just one way I've tried to spin that to a positive for me personally.
Yeah.
Right now is that would not be a fun, because there's, and I don't want to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like at home, we don't have the news on. If I listen to the,
I fell in that trap early.
Yes. If I listen to the daily briefings with the president and whoever else is talking about whatever the latest news is, I usually listen to it with my earbuds because I'm like, the kids don't need to be, I mean, they know what's going on, but they just need to know about how it concerns them.
Right.
I don't want them fearful. I don't want them hearing it. They don't need all that.
Sure.
And so I don't envy having to decide what's right to talk about, what's not right to talk about. If I say it this way, am I going to make somebody mad? And right now there's nothing else to talk about. Everything that you would be talking about.
Yeah. The world revolves
current
around it.
It comes back to that. So I as much as I miss it, I don't.
Granted, I mean, COVID is a little bit, it's a serious situation.
Absolutely.
Especially those who are affected by it and people who have lost family members or loved ones from it. We want to be respectful to that. But you can kind of make light of this particular situation in some ways, talking about, well, I'm so sick of my wife, or I'm so sick of my family. I just can't wait, just where in 9/11, it was such a horrific ordeal that you couldn't really find ways to make light of the situation.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So, and I remember after 9/11, because I moved to Kansas City to do nights. And I want to say that was like 2003.
Okay.
So it was shortly after 9/11 by a couple of years, I guess, because it was 2001.
2001. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there's TVs in all radio station studios now. But at that time, Mike Kennedy would not allow a TV in the studio. Like, hell no. And you're not supposed to be searching the internet, and you're not supposed to be checking your email. You're supposed to be focused on what you're doing. And we had to put a TV in there just so that we could watch the news, because we were about to go to war with Iraq or Afghanistan. I can't remember, whatever. I think that was when Bush was doing claimed the weapons of mass destruction. Of course, then that's when the Dixie Chicks thing came out. And oh my gosh, that was such a, but I guess where I was going with all that is that I remember that time very well. And there was so much controversy, and you couldn't say nothing, or, like I did, because again, being the transparent person I am, I played Daryl Worley's Have You Forgotten, like an hour straight, just to kind of send a message.
Sure.
Right. And people were calling up then being like, what are you doing? Like, and then some people were like, yeah, that's awesome. Keep playing it,
Right.
Such a weird time. So I guess that being said, I can understand why it would be not fun playing radio right now.
Or it could be fun, but you would probably still upset someone.
Oh, without a doubt. It's just impossible to make everybody happy.
That's true.
Some comments real quick. So I try to keep these to an hour. We're right at an hour. So, okay. Dara, but we'll keep going and listen. You got to be home soon.
I'm good.
By the way, is that empty?
No. And I have another one. No, it's like half.
Maybe you should drink another one. I mean, your house isn't that far from where I live.
I know. And I got to talk to your wife about activewear. Anyway.
That's right. I love that Jillian doesn't shy away from her faith. Me too, which is why I asked her. It's one of the reasons why I mentioned that in my promotion of this event. We are Wood sisters in that
Soul
way?
sisters. She fixed it on the next one.
Oh,
Soul sisters.
You're right. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know this.
We've been playing tennis.
Apparently this guy pays attention. Jeffrey pays attention.
Well, one of my Facebook Live videos we did at the tennis court, and so yeah.
Maybe I need to check into playing tennis.
I mean, we're not any good, but
yes, I agree, Dara. Yep.
Good
Yep.
stuff.
Okay.
Stuff, yeah.
So thanks for all the comments. Feel free to keep chiming in. If you guys are still watching, 37 people are still hanging on.
Uh-huh.
Holy cow. You're the highlight of the show of this show. Dumbest thing, implement your faith. Parenting. I've got a 6-year-old daughter named Reagan, and she seems to think that she's the queen of this palace.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle because I grew up in a military I shouldn't say military family. My dad was in the military. My mom's dad was a military guy. So it was yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
Sure.
You know, and if you don't, we're going to crack the whip,
right?
Or crap the belt, and
no back talk.
Yeah, my wife didn't necessarily grow up, and I'm not trying to make this about me versus her.
Right.
I don't want to
just different.
It's just different styles. Right. Yeah. So, the struggles of parenting and necessary discipline. Like, I don't know if I have an actual question, but like, I feel like in today's society, there's not enough discipline. It's like we care more about being a kid's friend and not upsetting them. And if they cry and whine enough, maybe we'll okay, whatever, just, you know, and it's harder to be a parent to provide them or put them in the position to prepare them for real life. And that's where I kind of struggle as a parent right now, because I am very adamant about preparing Reagan for adult life. And I'm not her favorite person. Probably not her favorite parent for sure.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, I also have a 6-year-old.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah, 2 weeks apart. And she's the youngest of 3 in our house. And she's probably the biggest handful for sure. And, you know, they always say the baby is right, gets away with more and I really just think this isn't what you asked, but I'm just.
No, I didn't really ask anything. I just want your thoughts.
I think it's because obviously with the youngest, you're older. And so maybe things you like were just like so strict about in the beginning. You're like, I don't have to be so, you know, you learn over
as
time.
being parents, sure.
And then also you get lazy. I'm going to be honest about that. I will be honest about that.
I love the transparency.
I will be real honest about that. So I am a little bit lazier with Everly discipline than I was with Charlie discipline. Charlie will be 15 in September.
Yeah. Gosh, 15.
Just don't even, I know.
That makes you 50. What? I'm just kidding.
I'll be 41 in 2 weeks. Yeah. I actually just had a text exchange with my oldest daughter today that I don't want to embarrass her, but she said she didn't mean to be like snotty or disrespectful. And she was like, Mom, you're the one that always says, well, in a text, you can't understand tone, right? Because it's true, right?
It's true, 100%.
And it happens on social media all the time. So it happened to it happens to me too on social media. I'm not saying it doesn't, but most recently it happened to my sister and one of our cousins on social media. Like, you couldn't understand tone, and maybe there wasn't enough punctuation used, maybe not enough emojis. Yeah, I showed it to her because I showed her the exchange. I'm like, do you see where if this person was really joking or being sarcastic, they could have
misread it, used
a winky face or haha, lol, something, because otherwise you're going to read it how you read it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so anyway, this literally was just a week ago. And so I said, you know, that's why you have to be careful. And now that everything is text driven or email driven or social media driven, I'm like, that's something to consider. So I'm trying to use this as a lesson, you know?
Sure.
And then she tried to use it against me today. And I said, you're right. So you show me where you had enough punctuation or a smiley face or a laughing face to show me that you were just being sarcastic and cute.
She was using that as a scapegoat.
Didn't work. So
Charlie, come on, you're 15 now, which you should. And
still, none of my kids, I know this is totally off topic.
Yeah.
None of my kids or my husband have gotten a turkey yet this year. Have you?
We filmed it. So I filmed my buddy Matt kill a turkey on, gosh dang, is that Saturday already that we did? Yeah, I guess it was Saturday morning. Sunday morning. It was Sunday morning.
They've been so many times.
Yeah.
They went every day last week, and then youth weekend and just that's nothing to do with this.
Apparently, they're not putting the birds to roost. Are they going out the night before and putting them to bed?
No.
You don't know. Well, they should. They should go out, scout the turkeys. You know, get them to roost. Then you know where. Now that doesn't mean that they're going to just come into the decoys the next morning, but at least you're in the vicinity.
Right.
Come on, Matt.
I will say
put the turkeys to bed.
Is that code? I will say, have you had a lot of ticks this year?
I pulled a tick out of Reagan's ear here. Yes, 2 days ago. But
Yeah.
I had one little tiny one. But
it's so weird that
it
like
should be more because of all the moisture.
right. No turkeys. I don't think any of them have, or they haven't told me. Usually I hear about it. Come get the, like
Yeah.
I'm the tick getter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great job. Not on the radio. I'm a tick getter. And
remember, show us your ticks.
Yeah.
Brad Paisley. I digress.
Anyway, so yeah, discipline. It's not easy. It's not.
It's not.
And it's not the same for. It's not the same for every kid.
I can see that.
I will tell you. Okay, so I've always done, and if you get mad at me and you think this is mean, I don't really care.
I love the rawness.
So I try to make a punishment fit whatever the offense was. Okay.
Makes sense.
So from the time, and I think I got this idea from my older sister because her kids are all older than mine. And so if they did something wrong with their mouth, they lied, they said a bad word, back talked, whatever it was, then soap in the mouth. If you're going to do something, or sticking their tongue out. My kids did never really have an issue with that over and over and over. But that was another thing. Like if you stick your tongue out or you say something you shouldn't say, your mouth's dirty, it needs to be clean.
Something disrespectful or offensive with your mouth.
Then, right.
Yes.
So soap in the mouth. Okay. Worked with Charlie. I probably did it once. Worked. Hudson comes along. And this was probably, I don't know, maybe.
Well, he's looking up to his foul-mouthed dad. I mean,
Right.
gosh dang it, Matt. Come on.
So Hudson's
I'm kidding.
Hudson's 11. I'm going to say this was about 3 years ago. It's just a guess. So 8-ish. And it was back talking, smart
Really?
now than back,
Okay.
About something. And it wouldn't stop. And there were plenty of warnings. And so Dawn soap, squirt, right? Leave it in there. I would make him swish it around,
Yeah.
like his mouthwash. And then I would make him wait like 30 seconds. I would let him spit it out after, a minute or whatever. I would make him wait 30, like every time I kept having to do it. And I'd make it a little bit worse every time somehow. Like,
And it just didn't have the impact, huh?
Just didn't have the impact. So I'd be like, okay, well, you can't rinse your mouth for another minute afterwards. Like you can spit it out, but you can't rinse and get it all. So finally I was so mad. Like it was like day after day. And so I didn't want to do hot sauce because I had somebody suggest that. That actually hurts. Like I didn't want to hurt him.
I don't know that.
Dawn soap is,
sounds
I know. It's not.
I think I'd rather have the hot sauce.
Ugh. So anyway,
But I like hot sauce.
I was so mad and I thought, okay, maybe that last time did it.
I don't
right?
put Dawn soap on my eggs. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Go ahead.
So I thought maybe I got it, right? I got it the day before. No, he does it again. I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so mad. And I know you're not supposed to do things in anger, but I look around on the counter for something else besides Dawn soap.
Oh, I thought you were saying to beat it with.
No. And we had Papa John's pizza the night before.
Okay. Oh, the pepper?
No.
Oh, okay.
The garlic butter sauce.
What'd you do? Rub it in his eyes?
No.
I mean, like that stuff's amazing.
No, it is good. So it was a full cup that we'd saved thinking, okay, next time we make pizza at home, we'll have, it was on the counter. So I open it up and now it's not warm. It's not like butter. It's like, not quite like oil. I mean, it's definitely liquid, but not like butter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a little
It's thicker.
Thicker. Yeah.
Still liquid. So I say, put this whole thing in your mouth. So he does. And I make him swish it around. And I'm thinking, how can I make this work? Like, I don't know if he's going to hate it. I don't know. I just couldn't think of anything else.
Desperate.
I was desperate. And so I made him, and then I knew it wasn't, because it's food. It's not like soap. So I'd probably leave it in there a couple minutes. I don't know. Make him swish it around. And he's, he's whining around. So I finally let him spit it out. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to make him rinse with cold water. So I made him rinse his mouth with cold fridge water.
Oh, so
it filmed all around his teeth and didn't have to do it again.
Is it okay that I'm laughing at this?
Yes.
Because I think.
I still laughed.
Kind of like, because then he started getting the garlicky chunks.
In there. And it was all,
Ugh.
And I made it just wear off, like cold water rinse.
And that worked.
And that worked.
That worked more than Dawn. So
Yep.
weird.
He's a weird bird.
So the moral of the story is that every kid's different.
Every kid's different. And
right.
I don't even have time to get into Everly. It's just,
yeah. Well,
it's a different game.
I just wanted to touch on parenting for a second because it's
glad you
hard.
did. I love being a mom.
And here's the thing: the one thing that I've learned because I was guilty of it, is if whether it was my sister's kids or not, because no, I shouldn't use them as an example because their kids are pretty good. But like if I'm in Walmart and somebody's kids are acting like, well, if I was that kid's parent, I'd freaking grab my kid.
Oh, sure.
And
everybody does that some.
You know, like parenting is just, and granted, there are some parents that are just neglective or, you know, just don't care or whatever, but parenting is just tough. It's just hard. And all you can do is just try the best based on what you know and what you learned from when you were growing up, whether it was good or bad. You either learned from your parents' mistakes or you took something good from what they did right, and just do the best you can.
It's, for a lot of people, it's probably the most important thing they'll ever do.
That's my top priority. The one thing that, I've got plenty of faults and there's plenty of things in my past that I'm ashamed of. The one thing that there is, I know you're laughing. I know that's hard to believe.
I was giving him a wink.
I know that's hard to believe. But the one thing I know that I'm good at is trying really hard to be a good parent.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And that's all I ever wanted to be, you know, as a kid.
Really?
Like, yeah.
That was your goal?
You said, you know, you knew from the time you were in third grade, you want to be on the radio.
You just want to be a mom.
I just want to be a mom. So I don't remember ever thinking, okay, or telling anybody I want to be a nurse. I want to be a teacher. I just wanted to be a mom. Wife, mom.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. There's a few comments that came in. Our most memorable hot country night, Yallapalooza, birthday bash. It doesn't have to be all three of those or just maybe one of those. The most memorable. Oh, you got something. I can tell by the smile on your face.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can tell that story.
Okay.
There was a Yallapalooza. Actually, I think so. I know you'll laugh and make fun. So I left you probably, maybe, because the first time I left, I didn't really leave. I left the morning show and I stayed on part-time, right? Because having kids, and then I'd have another kid, and I feel like I've been pregnant 17 times, but not really.
Right.
But so the first time would have been in 2007, and Charlie was almost 2, and Yallapalooza was going to be my last big thing,
the
right?
hoorah. Yeah, the last hoorah.
Fine. So 2 things. Very cool moment on stage where
you say goodbye.
Say goodbye, and everybody chooses.
Was that Clay Walker when was that the Clay Walker one? No,
Jimmy Wayne.
Yeah.
No.
Wasn't that.
No, this was Miranda and Dirks.
Okay.
This
Oh yeah. That was a hot year. Oh my gosh, that was hot.
Yeah. Also, the story, I'm not sure that I can tell the whole thing. Miranda Lambert.
I want to say Miranda Lambert.
Miranda Lambert was not happy with our friend Miranda.
Oh, I remember that. And she was about to throw haymakers through a car window.
I was not.
Right?
Yeah, I was not there for that.
Did that involve Blake? You can't talk about it. Okay, I think it involved the guy that Miranda was involved with, and then but she was assuming that our friend Miranda was trying to do something that she wasn't and had no interest in doing.
Right. She thought our friend Miranda from the veranda, CMT Miranda, was trying to at like some party back in Nashville or something. She'd heard a rumor, and was ready to.
Oh, and Miranda Lambert was ready to throw down. She was ready to throw down, and had she gotten through that car window, she would have.
Nobody was going to mess with her, Blake. So yeah,
I completely forgot about that drama.
So that was just a big year for memories. Yallapalooza memories.
Sure.
How about you?
Well, I don't even know if I have. I mean, now that you mentioned it, that pretty much. So I would say the first thing that comes to my mind, because I didn't really, I typed these talking points up and I put them in the computer, and I didn't take the time to really process my answers. But there is a birthday bash that I did, and I talked about this actually last week with Brian Bandis from Love and Theft, but Clay Walker birthday. So it was a 2-night birthday bash. I did a stage dive during the encore, and I'm crowd surfing. I fall. I get dropped. I land on a broken beer bottle. I've still got scars on my back from gushing blood, but I didn't realize I was gushing blood. I'm walking through the crowd, and I come across Rachel, who basically told me the night before that she had no interest in dating me, but yet she was at the show the next night with the tickets that I gave her and another man.
Oh,
different man. Yeah. But she left that guy at the show to take me to the hospital to get stitches, and we've been together ever since. So,
I love that. I love that story.
So let's get to some
stuff.
comments real quick. Let's see. Austin Graves. Remember Austin?
I do. Hi, Austin.
Austin was like my intern. Feel like I'm at home with you too. I tell you what, I had some great interns and people that were like, I guess I could be considered their mentors. I love Austin like a brother. He was a good dude who was so respectful and so nice and would go out of his way to accommodate any of us at the radio station.
Hard worker.
Now he's got his own radio station where he's the morning show host, I believe, and might even be the program director. He's kind of the main guy. And
owner, CEO.
I don't know if he's that, but I hope that he is. I hope that he gets there. Yeah, me too.
Good people.
Lynn saying that she's enjoying the show.
Oh, Lynn is the friend who gave me this
the
porch
studio
delivery.
Studio 69.
Monaco 69, yeah. Thanks, Lynn.
Shame on you. Don't ever bring up a woman's age. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm all good with that.
I guess she said that twice. Okay, so let's get close to. Oh, wait a minute. This is Lisa. You don't know Lisa, but Lisa is a class. Well, she wasn't a classmate. She was a year younger than me. Is that right? Yes, a year younger than me.
Hi, Lisa.
Lifetime friend of mine. Good friends with my best friend and his wife, the Slupionics, and her husband Dave is a very talented musician. So anyway, I'm glad. Thank you, Lisa, for watching. I appreciate it. And tell Dave I said hello and your kids. Actually, I gave so the Heartland premiere.
Mm-hmm.
We had this last year. Mm-hmm. I gave her son his first alcoholic beverage.
Oh my!
So I'll always be remembered for that. And he's not of age. Okay, let's get close to ending this up. What's the future for Jillian on the radio? Personal and professional goals.
Well, I want to be back on the radio.
And I think we all know that there's only so much that you can say. The people who are close to us, the people who've been following us for a long time. Yeah. So please understand that there's really only so much that she can say, but she's going to do her best to say it in a way that won't get her in trouble.
Right. I had hopes and plans and all that for being back on soon, either by now or soon.
Right.
Within
after 6 months from leaving.
After leaving Q104. Yeah. It's in most any DJ's contract like that you have to sit out 6 months and non-compete.
BS. It's complete crap.
And I didn't realize how many professions dealt with non-competes. I mean, I knew like radio and TV but I was talking to a friend like right after I left and I was telling him 6 months and 90 miles, so I couldn't
Rachel's got a no compete in hers.
Yeah. So I couldn't go work at
she works in a hospice.
Warrensburg radio station.
Sure.
But their husband or somebody was a diesel mechanic and their non-compete was like 2 years.
Oof.
And the mileage was like crazy. It wasn't 90 miles. It was more than that. So I had no idea. Anyway, knew I was going to have to sit out 6 months. Like I said, had hopes and plans in the works for the next step. And then the pandemic happened a couple weeks before my 6 months was up. And that changed all that and at least delayed it and maybe changed it. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
The station that you might go work for possibly somewhere down the road have anything to do with being nocturnal?
Nocturnal.
I should have known better than to ask this question. You didn't even know what a Jake was. You didn't know what a Tom was. Like you're not going to know what this animal is. So
that the animal is. Oh, I'm with you now.
Like
I thought maybe you meant I was going to work nights.
Like if there's a full moon, you might hear this animal.
Okay, I hope.
Okay,
that's what I'm hoping.
Personal goals. Hey, we're trying to do a live show over here. It's okay.
It's okay. You're fine.
I'm totally joking. It's good. It's our neighbor. We love her. It's all good.
Sweet.
It's all good.
Oh my goodness.
Personal goals. Yeah. We know kind of where you love radio. You want to stay in radio. You want to keep doing that. Keep pursuing that. Keep doing morning radio. What if you have a personal goal? What is your personal goal? Something that you really want to strive to do better at. I'm challenging
all of it.
you.
I know, but seriously, all
What's
of
the first
it.
thing comes to your mind? I tell you mine. It gives you
Yeah.
time to think.
Yeah.
Be a better husband. I take marriage for granted. I really do.
I was going to say be a better wife, because I feel like it's, and I know everybody deals with this, so I feel like it's so hard to balance everything.
Yep,
right?
It is.
And so I feel like something gets the best of me and everything else gets not the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, and especially,
and isn't it crazy how the worst of you ends up being directed to the people who are closest to you?
And the ones that love you the most.
Yeah.
But I think that's because you know that they will. So if I mean, you would totally listen. We've actually unloaded baggage on each other before.
Yeah.
Over the years. But I mean, you would take it differently, especially if it involved you. Right. So, I mean, just this week, like I had a couple just heavy moments where it was just felt like everything was all at once, those feelings of everything feeling heavy all at once. I'm not being a good mom. I snapped at Charlie about something else. I'm not being a appreciative wife. I'm not working. I'm not bringing in any money.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
contributing. Yeah.
So, I mean, just all the things just felt, and so then I don't want to talk about it. Matt, of course, he's great. He knows something's wrong. Like he can just look at me and he knows something's wrong. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. And he's like, you're lying. What's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. And then he's like, well, we have to talk about it. And so I finally get him to leave me alone. Like nothing's wrong, which is a lie.
Which meant you weren't ready.
And he knew, but yeah, I didn't want to talk about it because I was emotional, and because some of it, not all of it, some of it did involve him, and it would sound more personal if I was emotional. So I just had to wait until I didn't feel like I was totally falling apart.
Right.
But at least he can appreciate that, I guess, and give me that space, even though he doesn't want to wait, just like I wouldn't want to wait if he was telling me nothing's wrong and I know it's not true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would just be being a better wife. Yeah.
Oh, let's wrap up a few comments. I kept you 24 minutes longer than I wanted to.
This is random.
Yeah,
I love
please.
writing. I love writing. Okay. Like I don't like handwriting.
You mean like
typing, like thoughts, writing.
Okay.
And so sometimes when I'm like
poetry
stressed out, just writing my thoughts.
Diary thoughts. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so sometimes if I'll do that. I'll just start typing things out, whatever I'm thinking, feeling, whoever it's about, whatever it's about. And so that makes me sometimes think maybe someday I'll write a book. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's a dream. Maybe.
Okay.
And then I am a CBS Sunday Morning nerd. Like, I love it.
Okay.
And so I love how the show is, the details that I know had to have occurred behind the scenes to make it so good. And compelling. I love those details. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like a huge dream that's probably not attainable would be like somehow I could work for CBS Sunday Morning.
Really?
In some capacity, like
you're saying CBS the network.
Like the show, like CBS
Charles
Sunday
Corral.
Morning. Well, now it's Jane Pauley.
Yeah, but I mean, like back in our youth.
Charles Osgood and Charles Corral, right?
Yeah.
Like
Sunday Morning with Jillian.
No, I don't mean hosting. I just mean I don't know what it would be. Like there is a woman
you hosted that show.
No, not hosting. That's not. I don't even aspire that. And I know that's a crazy sounding thing, but every time I watch I think I would. This show is so. I would be so proud. That's what it is.
It's a good show.
I would be so proud to be a part of it. And I won't say too much, but I was proud to be a part of Q104 for a long time. And then it got to where I wasn't. So I miss being proud of being a part of a team.
Something. Yeah. Yeah.
And so where I can be creative. And so I think that's what it is about that, because I just think it's so well done. And like, just for example, one of the shows, this has been a couple months ago, there's a woman who she's employed by CBS Sunday Morning, and she has people send her son drawings and actual items of different, they use the sun, right? And she has like thousands of them, and she knows remembers each one, and she'll think, okay, if we ever have a story about, maybe it's pizza, somebody made one out of pizza slices or some graphic, and then she picks all the different sons for each Sunday show to make them make sense based on the pieces they have, which sounds silly, but I was like, that's amazing. Like, that's her job.
Sure.
The CBS Sunday Morning Sun is her job. And she makes it special.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I didn't know that.
So strange and random.
I never watched that show after Charles left.
It's still a good show. It's weird right now because nobody can really do their.
Yeah, well, you can't go out. You can't.
So it is weird right now.
You can't get content.
And I don't always get to watch it live on Sunday mornings, so I have my DVR set to record it, and I just love it.
I want to thank everybody for hanging on. This is probably the longest show that we've done. It's the most unique show. And I say the most unique, like I've done 100 of these shows. It's the third show, but the third one's a charm. I love this girl so much and have so much respect for her.
Oh, Whitey's watching.
Is he?
Sorry, I know we're wrapping up.
Did he say something?
Yeah, he thought that I said I wanted to not writing. He thought I said writing.
Like she likes to ride her hog. Her heart that she got from Gail's Harley Davidson.
I love it. Oh, I love Gail.
Jacob, great to see you two together. Jill, thanks for being so real, which is why I love you. And inspirational. Ronnie, you're just awesome. That's very kind of you to say. This has been awesome. Miss you both on the radio.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that.
Very sweet. Yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry it was so long.
No, I mean, this has been fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a while. I've been trying to stalk you on your Facebook Lives, which, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Is it too late for people to be involved in the Birdhouse Project?
No, we're actually installing them tomorrow. And thank you for your donation. It was wonderful.
That's not why I brought that up.
No. I know. And I wanted to bring it up too. So I'm glad you remembered. So I had seen someone else do this. I don't even think it was local. I think it was one of those things that was getting shared over and over on Facebook.
Okay. First of all, she is donating to the
2 nursing homes in my hometown of Holden, Missouri.
Yes.
And we're going to put a bird feeder or a hanging basket of flowers or a hummingbird feeder or something outside of each resident's window at the nursing home because they can't have visitors at all.
Right.
I mean, through the window, people could come visit through the window. And so the idea was from someone else. And so on Earth Day, which was last Wednesday, I thought, oh, well, that's kind of Earth Day-ish topic wise. And so on my Facebook Live, I mentioned it. I shared my Venmo account and people started donating like Ronnie did. And I've had a handful of people. Actually, our friend Kelvin made 16 birdhouses with his own 2 hands over the weekend. I went and picked them up from him. That's really cool. And so we'll have over 40 birdhouses and hanging baskets, and we'll be hanging those tomorrow on mine and my husband's 21st anniversary. He's going to help me do it.
That's cool. Sweet, right? That's so cool.
And so I had over.
It's not like you can go to Capitol Grill.
Right. What else are we going to do? So I had over $500 donated total. And so I'm going to have money left over, which means that I'll get to pick another nursing home somewhere and kind of continue the process as long as. So if somebody wants to donate, you can find me on Venmo. It's Jillian-Gregg-3, and my face is on there. And if you want to donate, do that, or get in touch with Ronnie, and he can get you in touch with me.
I would be happy to.
Some people don't want to use. I just started using Venmo not that long ago, and I didn't love. I mean, I do love it. It's convenient, but I didn't.
And it's so easy. It's
right. But I get it if you want to do it. I've had some people mail.
Well, people it's a new platform, and but if it gives you any peace of mind, it is owned in the product of PayPal. It's just different. A different form of it or whatever. Exactly. So anyway, so I'm excited to do that tomorrow. So one of the things that I meant to put in the talking points was just one of the things that I love about you is your vision for wanting to give back to community. And I thought that was really cool. And you're an influence. I mean, you've been in freaking Kansas City market for 20 years doing country morning radio, and you're well-known, well-liked, very much loved. And so you can make an impact, and you know that, and you're doing the best that you can, even if it just means taking baby steps and starting with your hometown, but it could potentially expand to something even bigger and greater. So that if you would like to be a part of that, she's trying to do something by giving back to those who, I don't know if less fortunate is the right word, but you know what I mean. So
something to brighten their day.
Exactly. And before we wrap this up, Donna just wanted to say that she's thoroughly enjoyed watching.
Aw.
Rebecca is saying hello. So
Rebecca donated for the birdhouses too. Thank you, Rebecca.
So, all right. So I'm going to finish this up again. The whole point of this is just to bring some friends together during a time where it's been really tough and a lot of negativity to probably, or well, not probably, to provide some positive and content. Maybe some of it's funny, some of it's serious, but it's all positive in the end. And just trying to find a way to just keep myself relevant during a tough time when, humbly speaking, and honestly, I'm not making any money, and I'm not saying that to make anybody feel sorry for me, because there's a lot of people struggling right now, and I totally respect and understand that. So I'm not asking for any handouts. I'm just trying to keep my brands that I'm associated to relevant. So if you happen to know anybody who has a commercial building and they're curious about what it looks like going into operation after business is open post-COVID, we would love to be a part of that. If you would like to reach out to us on our website, check out the hunting show on the Sportsman's Channel, heartlandwaterfowl.com. And then we're going to go inside and you're going to find out more about Zaya Active.
Yes.
You can find more on our website at myzaya.com/Brucker. Thank you guys for watching. It has been an absolute honor to have Jill come to my house and reflect on some old memories and great times. I don't care that we're not 6 feet apart.
I know.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for watching.
Bye, guys.